everyone. Hi, Yashoda.
Hi.
So great seeing where everyone's coming in from. We have an amazing crew tonight. Um, while people continue to roll in, I'll just go through a couple housekeeping notes and then we're going to just jump right in. We have such an amazing hour in store for all of you, and I'm so happy to introduce all of you to Yashoda and just have this experience. So, first of all, just welcome. This is the Elevate Everyday series, and this is a free monthly live platform where we share unique and quirky and unconventional ideas that work. So, we bring experts across the wellness field to share their expertise from meditation to sustainability, holistic chefs, authors, and so many more. So, you all know these are always recorded and uploaded to YouTube after the event. So if you have to jump off early, or if you're ever interested in webinars but you can't make it live, always sign up, right? They're free, so you can register and you'll always get a link to the recording. So you'll all get this tomorrow in an email. And I'll say this at the end as well, but as a thank you for being here, we always create a little Sigmatic discount code for you. And so we'll have our team put this in the chat, but it's YDM. So Yashoda Devi Ma, YDM meditation is your special code that you can use on any Sigmatic website on any purchase. And we'll send this all in the email, so don't worry. The last disclaimer I have to make is that Yashoda and I are not your healthcare practitioners. So we'll have time at the end for a Q&A, but if you have specific questions about personal health concerns, please hold off from asking, or maybe ask in a general way that others can also benefit from. And then last but not least, the chat. You guys are already so active in the chat, which is amazing. This is one of my favorite parts about these webinars. You can connect with each other and share your thoughts and questions and commentary all throughout. And if you're open to allowing everyone that's here to see your chats, then you'll notice there's a little to bar on your chat box, and it's automatically set to all panelists. So if you click the arrow, and I see a lot of you are just sending it to us panelists. So if you click down, change it to all panelists and attendees, and that way the whole group can see what you're saying and you guys can chat with each other. That said, if you have an anonymous question, you don't want anyone else knowing what you're chiming in, just toggle that back up to all panelists, and only Yashoda and myself and the team at Sigmatic will see it. So other than that, without further ado, I want to give you all a warm welcome to Yashoda. Yashoda Devi Ma is the founder of YDM Meditation Studio in Boulder, Colorado. She's an expert in the field of Vedic meditation and Himalayan yogic techniques for the mind and body. Yashoda has taught thousands to meditate locally and internationally at yoga festivals and conferences over the last decade. She has published in Yoga Journal, featured in Proven, Healing Breakthroughs Backed by Science documentary, and has been on many podcasts. She is devoted to raising the collective state of consciousness, healing individuals through their mind thought patterns, and higher value living. Thanks so much for being with us, Yashoda. So happy you're here.
I am honored and I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I know we were like, let's just start with the meditation, right? And really feel that in our bodies. So I'll just pass it to you and ready to drop in.
Beautiful. Yeah, I always like to start with direct experience. So just give a little taste and a little instruction before we dive in. So everything that I teach comes from India. It's all the yogic teachings and techniques, as she said. Most of all of the meditations that I work with are mantric based. So today what we're going to do is we're going to prime the brain with some breath work with pranayama. What happens when we do pranayama prior to meditation is it creates the brain that we desire for meditation. And this is a big part of what I'll talk about today. Is a lot of this is a science of priming the nervous system and getting the brain on board so that we can have a calmer experience within our meditation practices. So breath work is that prelude to then going in and having basically a relaxed brain. We're going to create brain waves, not that you're going to see them, but we're going to create positive brain waves that create a relaxed brain. And as we go through this guided breath work, then we'll move into mantra. And mantra itself is a science as well. When we break down that word mantra in Sanskrit, man comes from the root Sanskrit word manas, which means mind. And the Sanskrit word, or the other half of it, tra, means expansion. It means liberation. It means heart, right? So when we do and work with mantra, mantra is about expanding us beyond the chatter of the mind, right? And when we use mantra, what happens is it creates a frequency. So any stress that we're feeling in our nervous system and in our brain that comes through repetition of thought, it will start to alleviate us. And how that can show up in our practice is literally having these repetitive thoughts show up in our meditation, and know that that's actually a good thing. It means that it's canceling out that stress, that high level of stress. So don't get discouraged along the way. If thoughts come through, or maybe some emotions come through, all of this is good. That means you're being relieved during this session. And we do our best at not attaching. We just simply witness and allow for the mantra to do the work. When we finish the breath work, I'll introduce the mantra that we'll be using. It's a short bija mantra that we'll be using for our root chakra, since this is the month of Earth, right? And we have a lot happening in our collective. It's a grounding meditation. It's a grounding mantra to root us in if we're feeling fear or we're feeling shaken by anything that's been happening outside of our in our environment. But we'll start with mantra out loud, and I'll do mantra. You don't have to do it exactly the same as me. If you hear a higher tone or you might have a lower tone, you can do that. I'm just giving you the guide. So we'll do this for a while out loud for a few minutes to get that vibration, and then I'll guide you softer, and we'll go down to a whisper towards the end. And when we let go of the mantra, you'll be thinking it within the mind. So none of us will be saying it out loud anymore. You'll just be thinking the mantra. Thoughts will come in as mantra is happening. You'll feel them simultaneously, and that's great. Maybe the mind and the body will start to get relaxed. And in that, we desire that. So I invite you, if you'd like to I have a back jack behind me. So if you'd like to have your back support, you're more than welcome to when we go into the mantra part. When we do breath work, we like our spine to be free, because we want to create the energy that moves from the base of the spine up into the brain and activate the brain, essentially. What we're trying to do with the breath work is to awaken the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is what allows for us to be able to perceive on a more meditative, subtle state. And this is important for our journey. So I'll leave it with that. It's a journey. So we'll just take it all as it comes. I'll guide you again to remind you to relax during the mantra part and letting go and all of those things. So the breath work that we're going to do today, this is going to be about a 15-minute meditation altogether. So we'll do the breath work and you don't have to worry about the time, somewhere around 6 minutes. So some of you may have never done this much breath work in your life or breath work at all. It's okay. You'll have a feeling of your body getting activated, maybe some heat starting to flow. We'll be doing more soothing pranayama, not over activating. So just observe how your body shifts and how your brain shifts as we do this practice. So the first breath that we're going to do is very simple. It's very simple. You're going to inhale through the nose, and it will be a nice long inhalation. And if you're doing it on your own, it would be for about a 5 count. We'll hold at the top, and then we're going to exhale out our mouth for 5 count. So exhale and release all energy, whatever anxiety, anger, frustration, fatigue, whatever it is, we're going to get it out through the breath. And then we'll resume. Inhalation, nice and long, hold, exhale, but I'll continue to prompt you through and guide you. Your eyes can be closed, and if you feel comfortable, you can roll them up to then focus in between your eyebrows so that we can start to activate the brain. Okay, so we'll begin together. Nice long inhalation.
Yashoda,
Yes.
we have some questions. If people are pregnant, or is there anyone that can't do this?
You should be fine being pregnant. I'm not going to do any pumping of the navel and nothing over activating. So you should be fine in all of this. As being pregnant, just make sure that you're propped naturally with your back supported so it doesn't feel like too much strain. I don't know how far along you are in your pregnancy, but the baby should really like the mantra. So if it's further along, maybe the baby will kick.
Cool.
Any other questions?
I think that's it for now.
Okay, good. So we'll begin. Nice long inhalation through the nose. Hold at the top. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Nice and long and smooth. Hold at the top. And exhale all of everything out the breath. Inhale through the nose. Hold at the top. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Just answering a question as you're inhaling, you're just sitting comfortably with your back nice and upright, sitting in a chair or back free. Hold at the top and then exhale through the mouth. Nice and long exhalation. Inhale. Hold. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale. Hold. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale. Nice and long and smooth. Hold. And exhale out the mouth. Inhale. Hold. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale. Hold. Exhale out the mouth, just letting all anxiety, fatigue, frustration, let it all go. Inhale through the nose. Hold at the top. And exhale out the mouth. One more time, inhale through the nose. Hold at the top. Exhale out the mouth. Beautiful. You can just slowly open your eyes on the next one. So those of you, you can sit with your legs crossed If you like that, if that bothers you, it's just like you're sitting in a chair with your feet relaxed, but your spine is tall. Okay. So the next breath that we're going to do is a 7-part inhalation, 1 part exhalation. It's a really beautiful breath. It's called the breath of light. And what we're going to do is we have our 7 chakras that move up the spine. And so the breath that we're going to do is you inhale through your mouth like you're inhaling through a straw. It's very soothing for the nervous system. So we'll do, it's like 7 sips. And what I want you to visualize is light moving up each chakra from the base to the 2nd chakra, the 3rd, the heart, the throat, the 3rd eye, and the top of the head. You'll see my hand move, but you don't need to do that. I'm just showing you where we're moving the light up our spine, okay? So we'll begin inhaling at the base of the spine, then 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, hold. Now exhale out the nose. Inhale, first sip at the base. Hold, body full of light, nice and light. And exhale through the nose. Inhale, light at the base of the spine, moving up to the heart, to the throat, to the 3rd eye, to the crown. Hold. And exhale through the nose. Starting at the base, full of light. Heart, throat, 3rd eye, crown. Hold, body full of light. And exhale through the nose. Again, inhale, sipping, moving the light up your spine. And again, at the heart, throat, 3rd eye, crown. Hold. Exhale through the nose. One more time, all the way through, sipping, starting at the base. To the crown. Hold, body fully illuminated with light. Exhale through the nose. Feeling good? Your body should feel hot right about now. Nice and sweaty maybe. So now we're going to go into mantra. The bija mantra for the root chakra is Lam, L-A-M, Lam is what we're going to do. Now with this part, you can have your back against something, sitting comfortably. If you still want it up off of something, that's okay too. Whatever feels good to your body to where you can relax. We're going to close our eyes. And we're going to do mantra out loud together, and I'll guide you eventually in a few minutes to softer and then softer to a whisper. So what we'll do is every time we'll inhale through the nose and we're going to exhale out the mantra. Okay, so it'll sound like this. Lam. Then we'll inhale. Lam. And again. Lam. Inhale. And inhale. And inhale. Inhale, eyes are closed and relaxed. Inhale. Now we're going to go softer, nice long inhale. Now we're going to do a whisper, inhaling. And now find your way to just thinking the mantra inwardly. Just letting the thoughts happen with mantra. Body relaxed. And just keeping the eyes closed, but letting go of the mantra from the inside. Just taking a little bit of silence before opening our eyes together. Just moving the neck from side to side and kind of coming into body, opening your heart, or moving the spine circularly, whatever feels good. If you need to have a nice stretch above the head. And then you'll slowly, if you haven't already, open your eyes. I'm curious for those of you in the chat, if you wanted to write in, well, prior to me starting with the lecture, I feel very activated. I feel very sweaty. My body definitely got going in this, so I'm curious. Yes, that made your lips tingle. Curious if anyone else had any activating experiences. Calm and grounded, that's exactly what we want. Good, feeling aware, relaxed, very zen. This is awesome, so good. Calm, snoozy, third eye, quiet, very centered. Feel like the ocean, I like that one. Around your root chakra, you felt warmth, that's good activation. Amazing. Feel relaxed, warm, calmer, grounded,
So cool.
heart-centered. We like
Really
this.
tightness in the throat. That one's really cool. Yeah. Amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful. Some, yawning, that can happen. Maybe your body has some fatigue that it needs to let go of, a little dizzy. That can happen from the breath work. We can get, I like to say, we get high off of our breath, right? We don't even know that we can do it. So sometimes it might feel lightheaded, but you'll start to ground that in. Good, feeling good. I love you too. Hope the mushroom coffee in the mug. Yes, I have some cacao vibes with the rishi. The rishi is very calming and soothing. So, and thought I would bring a little love in, right? So,
I love that. David saying hi on our own supply.
yes, that's the best. Heart chakra is singing. Oh, I'm so glad. So this is beautiful. You guys can do this meditation, how you remember it. You can do both of those breaths. You could do one or the other if you didn't have time to do them all. Honestly, if you allowed yourself to do 3 minutes of that breath work, and maybe altogether you did 10 minutes, or even if you only had 8 minutes, you could do 3 minutes of breath and then finish with the remaining part of mantra. It's really powerful to do mantra on all levels. So we did it out loud together, we did it softer, then we did a whisper, then we did it on the thinking level. And for someone, Danielle, I taught you Vedic meditation, which is totally different practice, but it's mantra based and we only think it inward. We don't do it out loud. But when we use mantra and all different effects, it really brings harmony. I hope that you guys, and it sounds like you guys definitely felt our body is an instrument and we're tuning it. So when we use sound, it's a frequency. And as you guys, so many of you wrote so beautifully in the chat, exactly the outcome that I wanted you guys to have with the breath work and with LAM being the root chakra, being earth, being grounding, calming, and removing whatever fear or anxiety, anything that has to do with our basic needs, that has to do with our root chakra. So very potent and very powerful for you to feel that vibration. And when we're saying the vibration out loud, depending on your voice, you heard my voice kind of crack and do certain things, and all of that's okay because throat might be opening, certain things happening in your energetic body system, which I'm going to talk about. But in that, you can tell the different sounds, the la, ah, and im, they're all sounds of the Sanskrit alphabet that activate us in different ways. So sometimes you might need more of the M, the M vibration, or you might need more of the mouth opening on the ah, or you might need more of the la, the L part. So you just let your voice guide you, essentially. There's no perfect way of doing it.
Yeah.
Danielle, I don't know if you wanted to share before I start going in.
Yeah. I feel like I want you to just take it away. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. A few people are asking more about the meaning of LAM. And I don't know if beyond vibration, if there's anything that we can say
There
about
is.
sound.
So when I say bija mantra, so uh, mantras are a science. So there's many different types of mantras. There's prayer mantras, there's Vedic astrology mantras, there's Ayurvedic mantras, healing mantras. And yes, this is different than Om, very different than Om, different effect. Because Om in Sanskrit would be A, U, and M, and it invokes and creates a whole different experience when you're doing that. But bija mantras, which is what this is, there's bija mantras for each chakra. And bija mantras are simply primordial sounds. They're onomatopoeic, which means they emulate nature itself. So the yogis observed and perceived that this was in alignment, this frequency was in alignment with Earth itself. And with the root chakra. And so it creates that frequency that then enlivens that. So as each bija mantra, which would be like lam or bum or ram or yum, none of them have meaning. They're simply a frequency. And including Om really aligns us with the primordial sound, basically, of the whole universe. That's why they call it the Maha Mantra. So from Vedanta, the perspective of all of the universe began with these three sounds, Ah, U, and M, which really represent, in short, creation, destruction, and maintenance. Not in that order, but that's essentially what it alludes to, which is the function of nature in itself are those three things. They're always happening and ever expansive. So I'm
Amazing.
going, let's see, what else, Danielle? Is there anything else?
I think that's great. People are just sharing how they love to make their reishi cacao after you showed it with milk and gelato and lots of fun shares.
Oh, it's so good, right? You can have a heyday with it. It's my afternoon splash when I have a little sugar craving. So I like to do that, just simple with water. So let's talk about this, and we can actually bring the cacao and the reishi and all of the adaptogens into the first layer. So what I'm going to talk to you guys about, and I'll do my best in the short amount of time that I have to make it as possible as we're talking about mindful practices. We're talking about ways that we can create balance and harmony within our lives. As I was speaking with Danielle the other day, I think it's really important, and I speak about this a lot with people in my community. Our Western culture, we're extreme, right? So prior to my meditation practice, which was 18 years ago, I was extreme. I was an extreme athlete. I taught fitness. I came from powerlifting, all of these crazy things. And in that, I thought I needed to spend like 2 hours in the gym every day, and I would go hiking for an hour, and I would do yoga for an hour. And mind you, that was my career. So somehow I made that acceptable. But once I came to the practice, I started to learn the potency and the power of simplicity, that we don't need to be doing everything in extreme for things to work. So I'm going to reference back to, we did 6 minutes of breath work. 3 minutes of the first breath work, that was so simple. In through the nose, hold, out through the mouth. You could do that any time of the day. The second breath, the breath of light, moving up the second chakras, we did that for about 3.5 minutes. And so in that, you guys felt it. All you need is that. You could do 3 minutes and you guys already felt that shift in your brain. So when we do this work, it's very potent. We don't need to meditate for hours. We don't need to do yoga for hours. All of these things can be very simple practices. And it's just getting our perspective in Western culture to accept that we bring in short little waves of practices that I'll come back to make this easier for you. So from the Vedic perspective, everything, the entire system from yoga, asana, yoga means everything. Yoga in Sanskrit means the union, right? It's about creating unity consciousness between, it's a science. I've got to get this body, this brain, and this nervous system, and all its vital organs. I've got to get it on board with my soul, with my spirit. And so all of yoga is designed to do that. We've got to create a vessel to be able to create that connection together. And if we don't do that, then we feel separated, right? And that's what most of the world is feeling. So all of these practices, from Ayurveda to asana, to meditation, to bhakti, singing, kirtan, to mantra itself, Vedic astrology, all of these things, the list could go on, all the practices, seva, just jnana, satsang, and wisdom, they're all designed to fill 5 layers of our energetic body system that create wholeness. So it's a holistic approach to wholeness, which is why it's so fun to collaborate with for Sigmatic, because that layer of adaptogens, all of these great products, are really about getting the nervous system, and the brain on board to be able to work at a higher potential. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Danielle.
Yeah, that was really well said. I think I often like working with clients or people that are really, we're all so stressed right now. And it's like, how can we even get to another layer, like have these types of conversations or be in a place where we have the capacity to absorb the benefits of our meditation or breath or
Right.
being outside in our garden or whatever it is, if we're in that kind of, you know, parasympathetic, like crazy. We need to be in the parasympathetic, but we're in the sympathetic state all the time. And so, yeah, there's different kind of like shortcuts we can think about to help get us there. And I find that adaptogens are the most powerful, simple, safe kind of shortcut so that we can drink our reishi and feel our nervous system relaxing and then be able to be in a state where we're ready to breathe a little more, or we're ready to sit, even if it's for 10 minutes, and we can actually benefit and feel so much more from that practice when our bodies are kind of, think of it like your bodies are primed for it. And so, this is where all of our functional mushrooms, remember, are adaptogens. They're in this adaptogen category, it's really just helping our bodies find balance and equilibrium, getting us out of that stress response state. So yeah, it's that first layer, I think, is, and it's age old, right? In Ayurveda, we've been using Tulsi and ashwagandha and many of our adaptogens for thousands of years. And so we're just kind of remembering, like, oh yeah, we need these. Okay, that's why.
So these 5 layers, I'm going to go into them in short, so you guys have an idea. The first layers, we have 5 layers, and the first layer is our grossest layer within our energetic body system. It's called the koshic system. Kosha in Sanskrit means layer. So the first layer in Sanskrit, it's called Annamaya Kosha, which is the Sanskrit, really the meaning for the food body, right? So we have this body and this vessel, and we've got to take care of it. So how do we do that? We need to move our body. So this is why we exercise. And like I said, it doesn't need to be extreme. From an Ayurvedic perspective, like if you were to go to India and you were to sit with your Ayurvedic practitioner, what he would say, or what she would say, is just go on a walk. Every day, go on a walk for about 15 or 20 minutes outside, enjoy the fresh air, and enjoy your walk. It's not, we don't have to get all hardcore about it. We just enjoy. We go outside and we move our bodies. So whatever that is exercise-wise. We need to then, and that's why asana then was designed. Our body, we're energy, we're frequency, we're sound, and if we're sitting and we're stagnant, then we collect energy and it starts to build. So when we go into asana, asana literally primes. Every single asana is a position that awakens our energetic body system. And not only that, we're consciously breathing to where it then primes the brain, where it's creating brain waves that relaxes the brain and it moves the nervous system out of that fight or flight, and we go into rest and digest. This is why by the end of the class, just so you know, the most important position in that class is Shavasana. It's the end. Don't skip it, because you need to lie down, and it allows for the entire nervous system to reset itself so that you can move into action more adaptably. So we move the body, and then we need to nourish the body. So eating mindfully, and in our Western culture, we don't really understand. We're kind of looking more for aesthetics, but from an Ayurvedic perspective, you want to eat for the mind. How is that food then going to affect our thinking? How is that liquid or that substance going to affect the brain and our thinking? So again, this is why Ayurveda prescribes adaptogens, so that we can adapt to life. It upgrades our experience. We start to eat foods that then calm us in certain ways or activate us in certain ways. So that's really important. That's the basic. So Western wellness really emphasized kind of only this layer, right? And so there's 4 more layers that we need to access every single day to feel good. So we choose one thing. right? So we eat well, we have our adaptogen and our yummy coffee in the morning, and we get our brain all ready, whether it's the focus or whatever it is that you're creating that blend. You hydrate yourself. Hydration is key. You need to be drinking water that's alkalized, or spring water. You need to drink water that gives you life. So sometimes there's water that's distilled, it's dead. It doesn't provide you with anything. Or if you're drinking tap water, which I wouldn't recommend. But you want to be alive with what you're drinking. That's another easy one that you can do all day, or you can add electrolytes, or you can have tea. Herbal teas are like the greatest thing because it's warm, which then hydrates us really quickly. And then you add in whatever that beautiful plant or flower is giving you, and it uplifts the body. Like rose is going to open your heart. So simple and so beautiful. So that's that first layer is the body, right? We need movement, we need nourishing, and we need water. The second layer is what we call in Sanskrit the pranamaya kosha. Prana in Sanskrit, it means life force. And life force is our vitality. So anyone who is either in Chinese medicine, who is an Ayurvedic practitioner, those of us who know yoga really well and we're working with people, we need to raise your prana. Your prana activates and vitalizes your entire immune system and wellness. It gives you energy. And so the number one practice with that is breath. And we did that today. So, I mean, literally 3 minutes can shift you. If you were to do 3 minutes every morning or 5 minutes, you could work up to 5 minutes, but start with 3. Really simple. You just breathe and then move into life. Again, asana is going to help uplift that. Any sort of workout where you're breathing consciously, that's going to activate the pranic field. The food that you eat, as long as it's not McDonald's or something like that, it's going to raise your pranic field and increase that so that we can heal, or that, this virus that's going around, that our field is strong and capable of processing whatever it needs to process. Again, the adaptogens are going to help. Those of you who understand, maybe you've done Kriya, maybe some Kundalini practices where you're doing mantra and movement, that completely flushes the system emotionally, mentally, and physically. It removes biomemory. It uplifts us on a cellular level. So it increases our pranic field. Mantra is very powerful. If some of you might be doing japa meditation, some of you might sing and do the kirtan. Those are all things that can uplift you in the pranic field, but breath, conscious breathing, essentially. Then the next layer, the third layer, is called the manomaya kosha. Mano, or man, means mind. So it's mind. And everybody wants to talk about mind health, but we can't talk about it. We actually have to do things for it. So again, those of you who have gone in and done yoga, whether it's vinyasa, whether it's hatha, it doesn't really matter. Any yoga that the Western has kind of made a name for is going to help you. It's going to help the mind. That's why when you go to an asana class, you leave feeling better. I don't know very many people that leave feeling worse. You don't even need an hour. You could do a very simple practice that's 20 minutes, 15 minutes. I know a lot of online things are coming online that are 30-minute classes or 20-minute classes. So you can look those up. I think Alo Yoga, I'm not sure of all of them. I'm pretty sure they do shorter programs. So you can invest in that. But the number one practice for your mind is meditation. Meditation removes the stress, anything that's happening on the mental level, anything that's happening on the emotional level, and then obviously also on the physical level. So it goes in on a cellular level, helps remove any sort of trauma, anything that we have packed in the body that our brain is not processing, or our nervous system is too much in fight or flight, or maybe the body is too much in pain. It can't get to that point. The meditation will relax us and allow for these stresses to be relieved. Somebody earlier wrote, can meditation bring joy? Yes, that's the outcome. The joy is what it's all about. We want to remove any sort of emotional instability, any sort of mental patterning that is inhibiting us, like lack mentality, fear, self-sabotage, addiction, any of these things that are inhibiting us from our greatness or living in our heart or living in love or compassion. We need to remove that. All physical pain we need to remove, and then emotionally we need to feel good. If we don't feel good emotionally, it's hard to function in life. So meditation is going to help with that. Kriyas, mantra with movement, is going to help that. Again, pranayama is going to help, breath work. And again, this can be like a 5-minute practice. It can be, if you're meditating, I recommend, if you're just starting out, like we did today, that was 15 minutes. It could even be 10 minutes. I do recommend going to somebody who's an expert of knowing what they're doing, not somebody who's taken a certification over a weekend. Go to somebody who's really done the work with the mind and teaching you a very stable practice. There's mindfulness out there. There's Vipassana. There's Zen. There's what I teach, a Vedic meditation, that's mantric practice, and so much more that's happening. So that's that third level. The fourth level is what we call the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Vi in Sanskrit means knowing. Jnana means wisdom. And so what this means is when I teach meditation, the Vedic meditation, you'll get so relaxed in your system with your brain and your nervous system that you'll start to go subtle in your mind. You get quiet, and it's amazing. And in that place is what I call the subtle mind. And in that, we start to access our intuition. That's beyond ego, that's beyond thought, that's beyond anything that we know. And I like to say it's our inner navigation, and we need to access it daily. If we don't have a calm system, then we're like a ping pong ball, right? And we can't access what it is that we're meant to do today and tomorrow and the next day. And your mom and dad can't tell you what it is, your beloved, your best friend. We have to access it. So meditation, number one. Another, when we are listening to satsang, truth, people who are speaking from a place that comes from the heart, purity, that really uplifts you. There's podcasts where people are getting to that level. Yoga nidra practices help us get to this place of accessing. People like Alan Watts, who open your mind, that get you to start to think beyond just the paradigm that's happening in our world. This is all wisdom. Rumi, a great poet, who when you read his words just makes you go, yes, that's what it is to be human. That's what I mean by wisdom. Wisdom, if you're talking about yoga, it would be, things from the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, all of these sacred stories, but all indigenous cultures have it. Kabbalah has mystic wisdom, the Mayans have mystic wisdom, the Aborigines have mystical wisdom, that it's just scattered all over for us to be able to access truth that opens your heart and expands you and liberates you, essentially. And then the last is what we call the Anandamaya Kosha. And the Anandamaya Kosha, Anand means bliss. And so when we get to this place, which is my specialty of what I teach with Vedic meditation, it's a self-transcending technique, which means I teach you how to use mantra to get to the place where there's no thought and there's no mantra. That's the core of your being. That's where we start to access our soul. We start to experience our spirit, our essence, the essence of what we really are beyond stress, trauma, circumstances, our childhood. It's you beyond all of that. And that's your center. And when we get to that place, going back to joy, this is your bliss. This is your bliss consciousness. From the yogic perspective, the highest state of consciousness is unity consciousness, which no suffering exists in that state. Someone will have removed that from their physiology and their mind. And in the highest state is ecstasy of bliss, right? Which is what so many people want to get to through outside sources, right? And this is something that we want to access through the practices. Someone can feel bliss chanting. Someone can feel bliss. Some people will be like, my meditation, or I feel really good when you're doing ecstatic dance, right? Because ecstatic dance can get us to that place where we're not in our head and you're just feeling everything. The chemistry in the body feels good and you're in that place of bliss. So there's lots of different ways to experience it. But when we go into total transcendence and meditation, it stabilizes it. So there's a difference. So a lot of people might say my meditation is golfing or it's running. Those, you can get to that bliss state, but you just don't stabilize it. So then we keep having to go back and forth. Now, coming back to micro practices, I want to loop in with Danielle for the last bit, because I know you guys have been talking about it. So I gave some examples. I'm curious what you want to offer, knowing on those levels of what you guys have been talking about.
Yeah. If you guys have been to some webinars lately, I think there's been this big theme of doing little things to accomplish great things, right? So it's not as if we have to, like Yashoda said, used to work out all these hours a day to feel really good. It's like, how can we do these tiny little things? And whether it's, whatever you gained from today, maybe it's a little bit of breathing, a little bit of meditation, sitting in that silence, having your reishi tea in a more mindful way, and just setting, when you leave today, setting a really, really, really small goal. Maybe something that even sounds silly. It's so small. Like, I'm going to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth for 1 minute, right? And what you'll feel after that is a sense of accomplishment, right? If you completed that minute. But if you complete maybe 5 minutes, you'll be like, wow, I'm an overachiever. Versus setting up a goal like I have to meditate for this hour a day, and then you don't do it and you leave feeling ashamed, right? Dang, I didn't get that in. And so the idea, and this is something that Yashoda is such an expert in, is like kind of braiding these practices into busy lives. Like one of the first things you said to me, Yashoda, years ago, was like, we're not trying to be monks out in a cave. Like, we are householders. We are people that have jobs and have lives, and you're a mom, and we have families and, partners. And so how can we make this so simple that it just becomes like a little thing that we do every day, right? It's like, and you had this example that's always stuck with me, like, make it as simple as brushing your teeth, right? And you have this, I don't know if you still use that, but it was like, if you don't brush your teeth, you're like, oh, I forgot something. And so we want the practice, and whichever layer, is whether that's your adaptogen, your breath work, your meditation, where you're starting to be able to be braided in a really, really simple way, right? So that we're not achieving big goals, we're starting really small. And that's really where the consistency comes from, right? And that's where the magic comes when we do these things long term.
Right. And the knowledge of knowing. So, somebody had written in the comments, right? Think about it simple: body, breath, mind, wisdom, and bliss. And if you were to write that out in your daily calendar, what's one thing that you can do for each one of those? Right. And as you stay consistent with certain things, especially, as you come into a meditation practice, life gets easier. It gets easier and you start building and it expands. So you end up doing a lot more than you ever thought you could. But in the beginning, we need to start simple. So maybe you write, what are you going to do for your body today? And maybe that's, I'm going to drink spring water. I'm going to go online. I'm going to figure out how I can get spring water brought to my house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my first thing that I'm going to do. And every day I'll drink that. Well, what can you do for your breath today? So today I'm going to do 2 minutes of breath when I wake up in the morning. What do you do for your mind? Again, mind can also be something where you're reading things that elevate the mind, or maybe you're not ready to meditate, so you put on a chant and that helps elevate your mind, but you allow for yourself to sit in that 5-minute chant. So it's not overwhelming. Then wisdom. What's something that I can do every day? Maybe I sit down and I read something that's inspiring. Maybe it's as simple as every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to look for a wisdom quote that inspires me. Maybe I even write it and put it on the mirror in the bathroom. So every time I walk in, I see that and I go, oh yeah, that reminds me I should drop into my heart. And then bliss, what's something that you can do that's fun? So maybe you're working, we're all working on Zoom all day, that maybe you stand up in your break and you put on your favorite song and you dance. Or maybe you go outside and you put your feet in the grass and you sit in the sun and you soak in all that. And that's 3 minutes, it's 5 minutes. So simple things like that bring you joy. And that's the way that I like to look at it. Simple.
I love that. Maybe in our follow-up email, we'll write that out, these 5 layers, and give little examples for all of you, and then make it your own, right? Sometimes it's
Yeah.
helpful to get creative.
And that makes the mind really think, like, how are you creating wholeness today? How are you going to be whole today? And then that makes you active and self-sufficient in that.
Yeah, I love that. Um, I we have a few questions and I want to honor everyone's time. So if you do have to hop off, I want to share before you go. Again, you can, just a little thank you for joining these webinars. You can use YDM meditation for a discount off your next Four Sigmatic order. And I'll put that in the follow-up email, and you'll all get the recording of this. And if you have any questions, we'll be sure to, you can email for us, Four Sigmatic. You can email webinars@foursigmatic.com, and we'll answer any questions for you. And then Yashoda, how can people stay in touch with you and follow up and keep learning from you?
So you can go to my website. You can go to ydmmeditation.com. And on there, I have free talks that I do every month. If you're really curious about Vedic meditation, it's something that I'm offering online these days, thanks to the pandemic. And in that, then you can be initiated into the practice. I teach a course every month. It's a 4-day course, 4 days consecutive. It's a procedure and a science. Luckily, it's not all day. It's just 2-hour sessions. I have one in the morning or one in the evening that you choose. But you can come to my talk and you'll learn all about it. And there'll be other things coming down the road. I have other courses beyond that, japa meditation. And I'll have, hopefully down the road, an online platform for you guys to do more of the practices that we did today.
So amazing. And I so encourage everyone to go to the free talk and then see if you want to do your course, because you used to have to be in Boulder, Colorado to do this with Yashoda in person. And now it's just such a blessing that no matter where you are in the world, there's these unexpected blessings that happened in the past year. And now no matter where you are, you have the opportunity to learn with Yashoda from afar. So I'll put her email in the and website in the follow-up tomorrow. But yeah, really amazing opportunity. And then yeah, there's a lot of people, oh perfect, chiming in here. Yashoda, do you have time for 1 or 2 questions?
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say, Nadia, that's really exciting about Naropa. I hope you can make it out here. It's an amazing school.
Absolutely. A lot of people are asking about water, and I have my take on this with like, how do I make sure that I have living, healthy, good water? So
I'd love for you to go first.
yeah, okay.
No,
So
background with this.
yeah, if you live in a city, there's different filters that you can get. The top filter that I would recommend, the Berkey filters, and then I get some stones, and I can put this in if anyone's interested to remineralize that water. Right, it's really important to not have dead water once it's been kind of, you filter out all the nasty stuff. You still want to make sure that there's minerals, and that'll ensure that your body can actually absorb the hydration as well. There's also a really cool website called Find a Spring. And so there's springs everywhere, right? All over the country, all over the world. And if we actually go into this and talk about it more in the webinar I did with Sean Stevenson. So if you want to check that out on YouTube, you can learn more about that and check out Find a Spring. And then there's lots of spring water subscriptions. So no matter where you are, so important to invest in really, really high quality water. So see if you can get a subscription program going. I live in Los Angeles, and I know that Mountain Valley has a spring water subscription out here. In Colorado, there's El Dorado Springs water. And then you can also physically add more minerals to your water. So there's a brand called Trace Minerals that I really like, and you can just add a few drops into your water. And really basic before that, I'll just coach my clients on adding some lemon and a little Himalayan salt into your water. And that's a really, really good place to start. Even if you're drinking tap water, like add some lemon and Himalayan salt to begin. And then you can work up to, getting a filter, maybe go and finding a spring. Meet yourself where you're at.
They were saying what stones?
Yeah, I'm going to make sure that I spell it correctly. It's so funny. I was just asked this earlier today. I never talk about the stones in my water. But
Except today.
yeah, but today I am. Okay, they're called Maifan stones, Maifan. And they've actually been used for, they're really ancient stone to purify water, but they're really porous. So they add a lot of remineralization into dead water. Did I do that to everyone? Yeah, Maifan stones. Here we go.
See, I knew you would answer it far better than me. That's your expertise anyway. So yes, what she said. I mean, I'm here in Boulder, so anybody who happens to be in this area, I use Indian Springs, and they have glass containers, which I love, that they bring to my house, and it's very inexpensive actually to have that brought to my house every other week.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Terry's saying you can add a few pieces of raw seaweed to your water. That's a great idea. Some nori sheets or dulse. So good, high vibrational and free. That's great. Yeah. Okay.
What about alkaline water?
Yeah. Alkaline water, especially if you live in a city, great. You can go and get it filled up. There's alka places and sure, absolutely. Yeah.
In LA that I always see everyone go to.
I know.
Down in Venice.
There's a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, you can see, I mean, it'll talk about the pH balance within, and you want to look at that too, what's happening in that, and that will be helpful.
Yep. Okay, let me see if there's any other last questions for Yashoda about our practice or meditation or the breath. Maybe take one more.
I have not studied with Native American medicine men, but I have been around the Hopi tribe because I lived in Flagstaff, Arizona, and had the great good fortune of being invited into their private ceremonies, and they're amazing. There's a lot of, when you watch their ceremonies, they're very similar to the Himalayan ceremonies. A lot in the tantric tradition that's very similar with the headdresses and the chanting, and so beautiful.
So incredible. Yeah, people have been chanting forever. It's like no matter where you go in the world, it's like that vibration is so powerful. I love this last question, and maybe we'll leave off this. And it's a woman that says, I teach kindergarten and would love to find a little 3-minute routine that she can use with her students.
A really fun one that I think, because kids need to have fun, a little practice that you can do is have them do the breath work in through the nose and out through the mouth. And you can even have them be animated where they go, right, if they want to be like animals. And you can do that for a minute, right? Inhale through the nose, out through the mouth. If they want to be like this, they can. And then have them tap on their heart. So they're tapping like this. We have glands, our glandular system. So this helps get us into our heart. You can have them tap for 30 seconds. And then the mantra YAM, Y-A-M, if they're into it, you could do a little chant where you're saying yum, 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 yum. And they could even stand or jump around if they wanted, or sit. It's up to them. But yum, again, will get them in their heart. They should feel pretty happy after that. So to me, that's really basic and fun, because sometimes it's hard to get kids to sit. Even if you tell them to sit, they're like, they're very funny. I have a son, and teaching kids is very funny. So just playful energy, open the heart, tapping here. opens the thymus gland, and the thymus gland is connected to then our heart and our heart chakra. So then when you turn around and say yam, and again, that could be like 30 seconds and 30 seconds, and it will work. It will help.
That sounds so fun. I want to do it.
You can. All of you guys could do it. You could do it when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
Simple.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. We could pull so much wisdom out of you, Yashoda. You're just so full of it. I'm so grateful for tonight and to rewatch this. And thanks to everyone who is here with us live. Yeah, just so special. This community is so cool, and melding Yashoda's community with the Sigmatic community. Remember that wellness is not just what we put in our body, right? It's all of these different layers. And so we'll give you lots of info tomorrow in the follow-up, and just a lot of gratitude for all of you, and especially for you, Yashoda. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure, and I love you all. And thank you for taking a journey with me.
Have a great rest of your night.
You too.